Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Building Investors YouTube channel. We are working on the tiny house yet again, and we've got floor insulation to do today and then floor sheeting to do today. So hopefully we can do all of that with the weather. It's a nice chilly weather morning this morning. It's 54 degrees. It should warm up to a high of 72, so a beautiful day. So what we got to do, let me turn you around here, is remove our protective cover here. So like in the end of the last video, you could tell that I put the plastic in the house wrap on to kind of keep the water from penetrating and sitting down in there and then get everything wet. And then we put the insulation in and it gets moldy and all that stuff. So it looks like it's done a pretty good job. So I just need to take this stuff off without letting that water go inside. So I don't know, sponge or whatever I'm gonna do. Hopefully this water has stayed up here. It looks like it has. So we'll see if we can get it all swept off, let it air out, and I'm going to probably start on the far side with the insulation, and it's just batten insulation, so there's no stapling or anything. All you got to do is lay it in there. So these are 16 on center, which means they're from the center of that one to the center of that one is 16 inches. That's done that way you can use full sheets of this. So this is 4 feet wide by 8 feet long. So 16 inches ends up on 2 foot increments. And so you can use these, and this sheet will split perfectly on each of these like this. And so you can start one, or in one, start one, et cetera, et cetera. So we are going with this R15 Comfort Bat rock wool insulation for insulation. We've got 10 packs of this. I think it's about 600 square feet or so. And we've got 560 square feet of space to cover here. And I haven't done all my research, but I know this seems to be superior than all the pink stuff. I think it's more fireproof, less toxic stuff to breathe, all that stuff. So anyways, we're gonna put that in here and should help with any water, if there's any water that gets in there, which there shouldn't because it's sealed from the bottom very nicely, and we'll have a house above it, of course. So anyway, with no further ado, let's take off all this stuff and then start putting that stuff in there. Water is ice cold. That was a little bit of a disaster. If you're wondering, hit that plastic and Tyvek. That's a brand. House wrap actually worked to keep the water out. It did, but when I was taking the plastic off, I accidentally dumped some in, and then also my dog jumped on it, which you probably saw, maybe not. It punctured a hole in it, which caused some water to come into this bay. Not a big deal. It'll dry out pretty quick. There's a little breeze today, and the sun will be out here soon. So I'll get the main puddles picked up with this microfiber towel, and then the air will dry the rest. Not a big deal, but nice if it was just dry to start with, but it'll only take another 30 minutes, we'll get it in. So, anywho, next puddle. Okay, here's my first impressions of the Comfort Bat R15. It's a little more crumbly than I would think it is. Like by looking at it, it looks pretty firm. I was expecting it to be really tight and kind of hard to cut, just a little firmer than it is. But overall, it kind of is that same consistency as that old blow-in insulation that they use from newspaper and stuff, except for it's more dense and so it sticks together, of course. So we've got them packed in. And they actually are packed in pretty tight, which is good. But when we come back and do the sheeting on top, we'll have to make sure that these 2x6s are straight. So when we set them, we'll pull them over and nail it. It'll be all good. It'll be easy enough. I don't think we'll have any problem with not too much friction. It will be good. So especially once I get mostly insulation and it'll push it back and forth. So I'm probably going to do a section at a time and then lay one of those and then do another section, lay one of those. That way I can just kind of keep up with covering it, and that way when I put the plastic down at the end of the day, if it rains, it'll have something to protect it. So anyways, pretty nice. If you cut this one in half, it runs a little bit short, so we'll come back at the end and fill this with an extra piece, but not a big deal. Overall, nice and tight. I went with a 3.5 thickness. Of course, the 2x6 is 5.5 inches, so there's 2 inches of airspace, which I think for insulation purposes, it's nice to have a little bit of an air gap because air is your best insulator, is what I've been told. So we're gonna have a little gap there, which is fine. I can come back and put in another layer there if I want to, of a different insulation, different thickness, but I think overall this will be fine. This is what the walls are gonna have, so there's no need to beef up the floor. It's fine. It's a small space. It's gonna be heated and cooled very easily. It's gonna be nice and airtight. So anyways, I'm gonna do this and then I'll bring you back once I start doing the gluing and nailing of that. So we've got an entire row of insulation all the way to the end. The reason I'm doing it this way is because I can do the insulation from where I can reach, and then I can flip these boards over, nail them off, and then I can do the next section until we get to the end. That way I don't have to crawl across there and try to put these in. It'd be a lot easier if we just do it piece by piece. So we just filled up the generator with some gas, got the air compressor hooked up. Hopefully it starts up nicely. The air hose ran over to my nailer. Would be nice if I had a cordless nailer in Milwaukee, but you know, one day maybe. So I've got the pneumatic nailer. I'll have to do the adjusting to get the nail set right, but we got some ring shank nails here to secure it with. These are 2 3/8 ring shank nails, I believe. Yeah. Those are good for exterior, but I have them from another job, so we'll use them for this. And then we've got some subfloor adhesive, some liquid nails. We got the big tube there. You can get in smaller tubes. What you're gonna do is just run a bead along each of these. I'm not gonna probably worry about the perimeter because it's got the house wrap on there and the wall is gonna be securing that, so there's gonna be no squeaks there. I'm not worried about bonding because there'll be a bunch of screws and nails holding that together. So we're gonna put the liquid nails on those, and when you get to the end, usually you kind of do like a squiggly line across. That way the next piece can go into as well, or you can do 2 lines, it doesn't matter. But the only purpose of that is to keep it all one piece, so when you step on your floor it doesn't squeak, and it also really ties everything together. So anywho, I'm gonna start the generator, put you on time lapse, and let you listen to some music maybe, and then I'll glue that and nail that, and then I'll show you what it looks like after we do that. Well, here's the progression so far. We've got 2 rows of sheeting done, and we did a little bit of cooking on lunch, a little campfire there. That was nice. Just grilled a little pork chop. That was yummy. But anyways, has nothing to do with this. We did another row of insulation, and then we've got the half row left. So we did this one. We've been doing that as we go. We put this down and then do that, this down and do that. That way we don't have to step on these and too much. It's not fun on your knees or feet to do that. So anyways, the way we are taking care of the insulation here at the end is we are just taking a insulation knife, basically a serrated knife, and you just cut it and then stick it in there. So you cut a full piece and then take a piece to fill in that, and then a full piece to fill in that. But anyways, another tip here is when you do a full sheet, you do a half sheet as your next starter piece. That way your joints aren't all on the same, and that gives you more structure for your floor. So half sheet and then do full sheets all the way down, and then use the other half from there over there. So let's cut some insulation together real quick and install some more flooring, and then bring you back at the end. Full piece. Lay it in here and then cut it. It's like you're cutting a piece of meat. Yes, that's what I would say. And pack it in there. Take this, do the same here. Pretty simple. Now all we got to do is finish nailing off the edge there. Well guys, it is the end of the day and the end of the video. Check it out. Got the whole thing subfloor down, glued it, nailed it, insulation below that, and then we wrapped it in plastic because we don't want that water getting in there, if at all possible. So it's not supposed to rain this week, so hopefully I can get the walls and the roof up before then, but that's a lot of work. So put this plastic on just in case, and then I staple around the edges and then put some scrap 2x6s on there. Ugh. But it's looking good. So now I can tell the shape and size of the tiny house, which is super awesome. Next up, we can build the walls and put the roof on, and that's going to be extra exciting because you get to see the shape and size of the whole thing and the whole plan. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a comment below. Look in the description below. And if you have any questions, let me know. Have a good one. God bless.